Pawan Prabhuji, Vishwanath Prabhuji for leading the chanting. Let's continue with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatye Shitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, we'll continue with our wow, which is our prayer of the week. POW, the power of prayers. And wow is our wow that we recite these prayers of our acharyas given so mercifully by our acharyas, and their mercy bestowing prayers. With these prayers we can reach the Lord through the mercy of the acharyas. So that is why we call them as powwow, which is power of the vows of the prayers. Okay, so anybody else would like to sing today? Okay, I will continue then. Gangeya champeya taditvinindi rochi pravaha snapitatma vrinde bandhuka bandhu didivya vasu vrinde namaste charanarvindam बिम्बाधरोदित्वरमन्दहास्य नासाग्रमुक्ताद्युतिदीपितास्ये विचित्ररत्नाभरणश्रियादे वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् समस्तवैकुण्ठशिरोमणौ श्रीकृष्णस्य वृन्दावनधन्यधाम्नि दत्ताधिकारे वृषभानुपुत्र्या वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् त्वदाज्ञया पल्लवपुष्पभृङ्ग मृगादिभिर्माधवकेलिकुञ्जः मध्वादिभिर्भान्तिविभूष्यमाणा वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् त्वदीयदुत्येन निकुञ्जयूनोर् अत्युत्कयोकेलिविलाससिद्धिः त्वत्सौभगं केन निरुच्यतां तद् वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् रासाभिलाषो वसतिश्च वृन्दा वने त्वदीशाङ्घ्रिसरोजसेवा लभ्या च पुंसां कृपया तवैव वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् त्वं कीर्त्यसे सात्वतसन्त्रविद्भिर्लीलाभिधान किल कृष्णशक्तिः तवैव मूर्तिस्तुलसीन्द्रलोके वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षै क्षिप्ताश्च कामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वां शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् वृन्दाष्टकं यः शृणुयात् पठेद्वा वृन्दावनाधीशपदाब्जभृङ्गः स प्राप्य वृन्दावननित्यवासं तत्प्रेमसेवां लभते कृतात् वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दं वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दं हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री वृंदा देवी अष्टकम की जय। श्री विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय। जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। Anybody would like to read the translation?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Arti Mataji. Yeah.
You are bathed by streams of splendor that rebuke cold, lightning, and the kampaka flower. Your Champaka. Okay, thank you, Prabhuji, for correcting. And the Champaka flower. Your splendid garments are friends to the Bandhuka flower or Vrinda. I bow to your lotus feet. Your face is splendid with a pearl decorating the tip of your nose and a wonderful gentle smile on your bimba fruit lips. You are decorated with wonderful jewel ornaments. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. Vishwanu's daughter Radha made you guardian of Krishna's and auspicious abode of Vrindavan, the crest jewel of all Vaikuntha planets. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. By your order, the groves where Madhava enjoys pastimes are splendidly decorated with blossoming flowers, bumblebees, deer, honey, and other things. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. Because you became their messenger, the eager and youthful divine couple enjoyed the perfection of transcendental pastimes in the forest. O Brinda, I bow to your lotus feet. By your mercy, the people attained residence in Vrindavan. The desire to serve your master's lotus feet and the desire to assist in the rasa dance. O Brinda, I bow to your lotus feet. They who, they who are learned in the Satvata Tantra glorify you. You are Krishna's pastime potency. The Tulsi plant is your form in the world of men. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. O merciful one, they who have no devotion and they whom millions of offenses have thrown into the waves of lust and other vices take shelter of you. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. A person who is like a bumblebee at the lotus feet of Vrindavan's king and queen, and who reads or hears this Vrindashtakam will eternally reside in Vrindavan and attain loving service to the divine couple. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Aarti Mataji. Okay, so let's continue with Srila Prabhupada Leela Amrit. We're on chapter 49, which is titled Unifying ISKCON. So Srila Prabhupada is breaking down all the barriers and he's bringing all his disciples on the common platform of Krishna consciousness. He's dispelling the myths about the different ashramas, and eventually Prabhupada gave a very significant thought and principle, basically, that ultimately doesn't matter whether one is a grihastha or brahmachari or vanprastha or sannyasi or in any of the varnas. Ultimately, we have to remember that our eternal identity is that we are eternal servants of the Lord. So we are Nitya Krishna Das, like Prabhupada is saying. So if we remember that, then everything will be perfect. So that is the common platform that we all have to come to, right? And all the other designations will disappear if we come to that common platform. So, so that's why we say, like our devotees, I think Adi Gadadhar Prabhu usually says this: Krishna Das, Bindas, right? And Mayaka Das, Sadao Das. So if we remember that we are Krishna's Das, then we will be Bindas. Bindas is blissful in being Das. So bhakti is blissful. So blissful in Das versus if you become Mayaka Das, then you are Udas. Udas can also mean Ulta Das. So that is why this word we say is a perverted reflection. So this is all Ulti Dunya. So if we have to remember, we are not Maya's Das to become Udas, but we are Krishna's Das to become Bindas. Okay, so let's continue. We are celebrating Gaur Purnima with Srila Prabhupada. So we'll continue from here. On Gaur Purnima day, everyone fasted until moonrise, and most of the devotees walked down to the Ganges to bathe. Jayapataka Swami told them that according to Shastra, whoever bathed in the Ganges at Mayapur during Gaur Purnima would become liberated from birth and death. In the early evening, pilgrims began arriving in great numbers. From all over West Bengal, people yearly visited the temples in Mayapur, especially the birthsite of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and more recently, ISKCON's Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. In Calcutta, People had seen the billboards advertising the ISKCON Gaur Purnima festival, and by word of mouth, tens of thousands of villagers had heard about the longest building in West Bengal and the golden deity of Radha Madhav. Devotees greeted the guests with prasadam and sold copies of Gitargan, Srila Prabhupada's Bengali versification of Bhagavad Gita. By night time, long streams of people were flowing in and out of the front gates. The crowds raised a cloud of dust, and the air filled with sounds of rickshaw bells, women singing, friends talking, and the amplified kirtana emanating from the temple. Most of the visitors walked to the temple, visited the photo exhibit, and then stayed for a while watching the kirtana or the theatre performance at the outdoor pandal stage. Although the number of visitors approached 100,000, the scene remained peaceful as people moved along without pushing or hurrying, observing the customary respect of visiting a holy place. Dhruvanatha. The most ecstatic highlight of the festival was when, after greeting the deities in the morning, Srila Prabhupada would circumambulate the temple. There was a bell on either side of the deity room, and as we circumambulated and Prabhupada came to the bells, the devotee would hand him the rope. As the devotees chanted and danced ecstatically, Prabhupada would pull the bell in time to the kirtan. And at the same time, he would raise his left hand to indicate that devotees should chant and dance more and more. Anaka Dundubi. Wow, that's the first time I'm hearing that name. Srila Prabhupada would sit on the veranda looking over all of Mayapur. I saw him watching some boys herding their cows. He was absorbed in watching the whole place. Then someone gave him a little pair of binoculars, and he would look out across Mayapur with one finger up in the air. He looked like a general. He was looking across to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house, and then he spotted the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya. He looked at it very closely, and then he said, "Almost no men. They have no men." Satsvarupadas Goswami Maharaj. One day, Prabhupada called in the GBC members. It was in the afternoon, and we could see he was feeling very blissful. He was hearing the kirtan in the temple. He said everyone should come to Mayapur and chant 24 hours a day. He said, "There is so much room here. The morning class is so nice." Prahlad Maharaj's instruction 1,000,000 years ago. A 5-year-old boy was speaking. The chanting, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, is the only solace. It is nothing material, the chanting. Ajamil called the name of Narayana and was saved. Prabhupada said that batches of devotees should come to Mayapur so that there should always be 500 men present. Then a devotee said, "In America, they are trying to chant more, 12 hours a day, trying to get a 24-hour kirtan schedule." Yes, everywhere, Srila Prabhupada said, this chanting should go on. Instead of meetings, resolutions, dissolutions, revolutions, and then no solutions, there should be chanting. Very well. Gopavrinda I had guard duty, and Prabhupada would get up around 12 midnight or 1 o'clock. He would be upstairs and I would be one floor below. He was chanting a lot, pacing back and forth on the balcony. I couldn't see him, but I could see his shaven head silhouetted. He was walking about 10 steps one way and then 10 steps the other way. I had a 3-hour watch, and I sat there chanting my japa and watching Prabhupada's head go back and forth. Sometimes I could hear when his chanting was louder. I was reminded of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati because Srila Prabhupada described many times the balcony where Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati paced back and forth, envisioning and considering how to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. So, Prabhupada was also pacing and thinking how to spread Krishna consciousness. Anaka Dundubi. In Prabhupada's room, on the wall, there was a beautiful sandalwood carving of Radha and Krishna, just like on the Krishna book cover, with Radha and Krishna standing. Radharani with her arm around Krishna, holding his flute, and Krishna holding his cape around her. When there weren't any guests for darshan, Prabhupada would just sit and look at that picture. He loved it very much. When I would take his garland up to him, he would wear it during darshan for about an hour and a half. Then after darshan, he would get up and go to the bathroom after just taking the garland off. Then he would come back and give the garland to Radha and Krishna. A number of times I gave him garlands made of very fragrant little white flowers that Jananivas would give me. Prabhupada used to take that garland and put it on Radha and Krishna in such a beautiful way. It was the perfection of deity worship, the way he put that little garland there. Jananivas. Just before Prabhupada left, I came up and I asked him, "Frankincense, Srila Prabhupada?" There was no one else in the room at that time, and he was just chanting japa sitting in his room. I started to fill up the room with smoke from the frankincense. Smoke was coming out everywhere, and Prabhupada kept the windows closed. He looked up and said, "This creates such an atmosphere of spiritual understanding. This is so nice, so nice." Then he started chanting again, Pushta Krishna. When Prabhupada was finally finished conducting the Mayapur festival, I asked him if he was tired. Prabhupada said, "What tired? So many people are coming and hearing about Krishna. When preaching, you feel refreshed." Haribo. Okay, let's go to chapter 15. The lame man and the blind man. Ever since the BBT Press Marathon in the summer of 1975, the press had continued to keep up with Srila Prabhupada's writing. A sweet transcendental competition had developed between Prabhupada, his press, and the book distributors. In November of 1975, Prabhupada had written to one of the leading book distributors. "The BBT says that they are publishing at the speed of my translating, and that you will distribute at the pace of publishing. That's nice. But still, I am ahead in my translation work. They owe me now the sixth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. I am working already on the seventh canto." In recent months, however, Srila Prabhupada's literary output had been diminishing, mostly because of his involvement in management. His direct supervision of the construction in Bombay, his month-long managerial drive in Vrindavan, his struggle to heal a major ISKCON schism, such activities were not conducive to writing. In Mayapur, when the devotees had failed to control the slamming of doors, he had complained bitterly that this heart-cracking sound interrupted his meditative translating. He explained that he sometimes thought for 2 or 3 days about a single purport before actually writing it. Actually, the word translating is incomplete in describing Srila Prabhupada's writing. Translating involved only the verses and synonyms. But Prabhupada's deepest meditations, what he referred to as his personal ecstasies, were his Bhaktivedanta purports. Composing the purports as well as translating the verses came best when he could think about them throughout the day, not just when he turned on his dictating machine at 1 a.m. He was translating the extremely grave and complex Vedic knowledge into a modern context, thus making it understandable to Western readers. And it was a great, demanding task. To best speak to the people of the world through his Srimad Bhagavatam writings, Srila Prabhupada required a very conducive situation. After the Mayapur festival, therefore, he formulated an itinerary that, in about a month's time, would bring him to Hawaii. There he expected to find an atmosphere beneficial for his literary work. His traveling secretary, Pushta Krishna Swami, wrote ahead to Hawaii shortly after the Mayapur festival. "Prabhupada must do a lot of translating, so don't set up programs outside. And if there have to be guests, it must be restricted to 5 p.m. only, until about 6:30 each evening. If these things are nicely arranged, then Prabhupada will stay some time to translate." Srila Prabhupada's itinerary also included another US tour. His secretary wrote ahead to Kirtananda Swami in New Vrindavan. Prabhupada has revealed a bit more about things. He said that as time goes on, he is less and less concerned about seeing visitors. He mentioned that Aurobindo saw visitors only once a year on his birthday. Although Prabhupada deemed this is not possible now, I asked him where he would like to go for some time to translate. He said New Vrindavan. And he said he would go there after the Rath Yatra in New York. Hawaii, May 3rd, 1976. After brief visits in several Indian cities as well as stops in Melbourne, Auckland, and Fiji, Srila Prabhupada arrived in Hawaii on schedule. Immediately, he began to increase his writing. The devotees were keenly noting the number of digits he ran up each night on his dictating machine, which for them was like a measure of the benediction for all humanity. Whereas in India, he had done usually no more than 100 digits a day, and sometimes none. In Hawaii, this rate jumped to 200 and even 300 day after day. Hari Shauri, who had accompanied Prabhupada from Vrindavan as a servant, wrote in his diary, "Prabhupada is translating like anything now, and he did 290 digits again last night." The temple was in a quiet neighborhood with several acres of garden-like property. In the backyard stood a large, stately banyan tree, and in the front the largest tulsi bushes anywhere in ISKCON. The devotees grew their own vegetables, and flowers, mangoes, and coconuts were so plentiful that they were available free. The weather was sunny, interspersed with occasional showers. Prabhupada felt ill and could not sleep more than 1.5 hours at night and 1 or 2 hours during the day. But being transcendental, he used this inability to sleep as another way to increase his writing time. Despite his emphasis on writing, however, he continued lecturing in the temple, going on morning walks, holding discussions on the beach, and daily answering his mail. Still, Hawaii was far from being like Vrindavan or Calcutta, where old friends and new admirers demanded hours of his time. Here, he was mostly alone with his trained staff. He had been in Honolulu about a week when he announced one morning, walking along Waikiki Beach, that he expected to finish that night the last purport to the seventh canto. When Hari Shauri expressed his happiness to hear this, Prabhupada replied, "Oh, I can finish very quickly, but I have to present it for your understanding. It requires deep thought, very carefully to present it for the common man." That night around 9, Prabhupada called for Hari Shauri and said that he would not take his evening massage. He wanted the time for finishing the seventh canto. Shutting the door and returning to his desk, he worked all night until 5 in the morning. At the end of the seventh canto, he dictated a closing remark. Completed on the night of Vaishakhi Shukla Ekadashi, the 10th of May 1976, in the temple of the Panchatattva, New Navadvip, Honolulu, by the mercy of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivas Adi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Thus we may happily chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Immediately, Prabhupada turned to the eighth canto, beginning with a prayer. First of all, let me offer my humble, respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. Prabhupada explained that his spiritual master had instructed him at Radhakund in 1935 to stress book production more than temple construction. He had followed that instruction, beginning with his starting Back to Godhead magazine in 1944, and in 1958 he had begun Srimad Bhagavatam. As soon as he had published 3 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam in India, he had started for the US in August of 1965. I'm continuously trying to publish books as suggested by my spiritual master. Now, in this year, 1976, I have completed the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and a summary of the 10th canto has already been published as Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Still, the 8th canto, 9th canto, 10th canto, 11th canto, and 12th canto are yet to be published. On this occasion, therefore, I am praying to my spiritual master to give me strength to finish this work. I am neither a great scholar nor a great devotee. I am simply a humble servant of my spiritual master. And to the best of my ability, I am trying to please him by publishing these books with the cooperation of my disciples in America. Fortunately, scholars all over the world are appreciating these publications. Let us cooperatively publish more and more volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam just to please His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Prabhupada said he was making the Bhagavatam understandable for the common man. This did not mean his writings were lacking in substance. They were pure substance. But in the essential spirit of the Bhagavatam itself, Prabhupada was omitting anything extraneous and distracting, selecting from the commentaries of the previous acharyas whatever would best impel his readers to pure devotional service. At the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, the author Srila Vyasadeva states that the Bhagavatam excludes all materially motivated forms of religiosity and offers only pure devotional service. Srimad Bhagavatam is therefore called the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic knowledge. And just as the Bhagavatam is itself the most essential spiritual knowledge, so Srila Prabhupada, in translating and commenting on the Bhagavatam, utilized the same spirit of delivering the pure message without any speculation or deviation. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swam. Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all incarnations, the cause of all causes. And Prabhupada revealed this conclusion on every page. Although some Sanskrit scholars disagreed with Prabhupada's emphasis on Krishna, his Krishnaizing of the Sanskrit was not whimsical, but followed strictly the ancient tradition of Parampara. Overwhelmingly, those university scholars who seriously read Prabhupada's books appreciated the faithful quality of his Parampara rendering. Reviews came from all over the world. For those who have no access to the Sanskrit language, these books convey in superb manner the message of Bhagavatam. Dr. Alaka Hejib, Department of Sanskrit and Indian Studies, Harvard University. It is a deeply felt, powerfully conceived, and beautifully explained work. I don't know whether to praise more this translation of the Bhagavad Gita, its daring method of explanation, or the endless fertility of its ideas. I have never seen any other work on the Gita with such an important voice and style. It will occupy a significant place in the intellectual and ethical life of modern man for a long time to come. Dr. Shaligram Shukla, Professor of Linguistics, Georgetown University. For the first time, we possess a readily accessible edition for this great religious classic that will provide opportunity for scholars in Indian literature and followers of the Krishna consciousness tradition alike to compare the original text with a modern English translation and become acquainted with the deeper spiritual meaning of this work through the learned commentary of Sri Bhaktivedanta. Anyone who gives a close reading to the commentary will sense that here, as in his other books, Bhaktivedanta has combined a healthy mixture of the fervent devotion and aesthetic sensitivity of a devotee and the intellectual rigor of a textual scholar. At no point does the author allow the intended meaning of the text to be eclipsed by the promotion of a particular doctrinal persuasion. These exquisitely wrought volumes will be a welcome addition to the libraries of all persons who are committed to the study of Indian spirituality and religious literature, whether their interests are sparked by the motivations of the scholar, the devotee, or the general reader. Dr. J. Bruce Long, Department of Asian Studies, Cornell University. This English edition, translated by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, is superb. It contains the original Sanskrit and Bengali verses with their English transliteration, synonyms, translations, and elaborate purports, easily bearing testimony to the author's profound knowledge of the subject. Dr. O.B.L. Kapoor, Emeritus Chairman and Professor, Department of Philosophy, Government Postgraduate College, Gyanpur, India. Okay, let's pause here. These wide accolades that are pouring in from all over the world. Just as Prabhupada is traveling everywhere, all over the world, traveled 14 times in this 12 years. So now everybody around the world is being touched and inspired by him personally, as well as by his transcendental literature that he gave all of us through his books. And as he rightfully said on his disappearance day, that I will never die. I will live forever through my books, and my sincere disciples will live with them. They shall utilize. So like that, we are just making a humble attempt to read Srila Prabhupada's books and associate with the pure devotee of the Lord. So when we associate with the pure devotee of the Lord, then we are perfecting our surrender. So yeah, I was reminded also in one of the lectures, my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, used to say that in one of the purports, I forget now which purport it was, but it was, I think, either in the 9th or 10th canto. But he was mentioning that how Prabhupada, that purport itself, I think, was like 4 or 5 pages long. And Guru Maharaj was saying that Prabhupada, on that particular purport, Prabhupada would like say 1 or 2 words and then he would pause and he would be meditating for 3-4 minutes. And then again he would say 2-3 words and again he would pause, meditate again for 2-3 minutes and again like so he was just saying, he was just wondering how much deep meditative reflection Prabhupada had. And before writing each and every word, he was thinking so much. So like that reminded me based on today's reading, so he was just saying, just you can imagine this writing this 4 or 5 page purport, how much time Prabhupada would have spent on this. Because he was pausing after every 2-3 words, not even sentence, just 2-3 words. He was saying every 2-3 words, and he was pausing for 2-3 minutes and reflecting and meditating. So that we see, he was so determined. Like on this day of Ekadashi, he wanted to finish the 7th canto. After finishing 7th canto, if we finish something, we accomplish something. Like yesterday, Karthik program we finished. Okay, devotees would say, okay, now everything is done. Let's just relax, right? But here we see again from Prabhupada's example. He finished 7th canto, immediately started 8th canto, right? It's like how much of love he had for the instruction of his Guru Maharaj, that he just wanted to utilize every second of his time and complete those 7th canto, 8th canto, like he's reflecting 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th are remaining. He's not focusing on what is done, but what has to be done, right? So that was his focus. And yeah, like there's, and that also reminded me once of Amog Lila Prabhu was saying, like how we, as disciples of Srila Prabhupada, we have to become Prabhupada Anugas. We go running after here and there, trying to hear from this Babaji, that Guruji. It's okay. We respect everybody, but we have to become Srila Prabhupada Anugas. Then our surrender would be perfect. And like he was saying that, Janmashtami, we all celebrate Janmashtami until midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Then we come tired, and then next day actually is Prabhupada appearance day, Nandotsav, and we don't celebrate Prabhupada appearance day nicely. We have forgotten Prabhupada. We don't. So whatever Vyas Puja we do of our spiritual master, we should 10 times more, 20 times more, million times more. We should celebrate Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. So that should be our mood. And unfortunately, if we don't do that, then that shows that the lack of progress of our spiritual advancement will be because of that. So like that, Prabhupada has given us his blood and soul through all these wonderful literatures. We just have to take time and read them sincerely and associate with Srila Prabhupada by associating with his books. Hare Krishna. Okay, anybody else would like to share anything from today's reading? No other thoughts? No other reflections? Anything that you loved from today's reading? Okay. All right. If there is no other comments, then we'll pause here for today. Thank you for your kind association with Srila Prabhupada. Hari Bol. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavind ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Have a great day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Have a good day.
Hare Krishna.